As the sun set, casting a soft orange glow over a small, worn-out house, the Smith family huddled together inside. Their faces were tired, their clothes well worn, but their spirits still carried hope. Life had thrown countless challenges their way. Bills piled up, their car had broken down for the last time, and food was often scarce. The struggle to make ends meet weighed heavily on them, but somehow they held on to each other. Emily, the mom, always found a way to keep her kids smiling, even on the toughest days. Her infectious laughter filled the house, even when the bills were overdue and the pantry was nearly empty. James, the dad, worked multiple jobs, whatever he could find, just to keep the roof over their heads. But despite their best efforts, they couldn't seem to get ahead. What they didn't know was that something was about to change, something that would forever alter their lives. Thousands of miles away, a billionaire named Elon Musk sat quietly, reading about people struggling like the Smiths. His eyes landed on their story, and something about it stayed with him. It stirred something deep inside. And then, in an unexpected twist of fate, two completely different worlds were about to collide in a way no one could have predicted. What Elon did next would leave the Smiths speechless, and even bring tears to his own eyes. Emily and James Smith lived in a small town where everyone knew each other, and while they didn't have much, their home was always filled with love. It was an old house, one that creaked and groaned with age, but it had a warmth that made it a place where their two kids, Lily and Max, could laugh and play. Emily stayed home to care for Lily, 8, and Max, 5. She worked hard every day to keep the house running, but her job didn't come with a paycheck. She cooked, cleaned, and made sure the kids had what they needed. Emily's biggest goal was to make life feel as normal as possible for her children, but beneath her smiles was constant worry. How could she keep things going when the bills kept coming, and her dreams of a better life felt so far out of reach? James, her husband, was a hard-working man who never complained. He worked long hours, fixing fences, unloading trucks, cleaning yards, whatever he could find to support his family. His car, which had seen better days, often broke down, forcing him to walk miles to work or rely on neighbors for rides. His hands, rough from years of labor, were a testament to his dedication. He would leave home before sunrise and come back late, covered in sweat and dirt, but he kept going. For James, the only thing that mattered was providing for his family. Their dream was simple, a stable life. They wanted Lily and Max to have a safe home, enough food, and the chance to go to school without worrying about their next meal. They hoped that, with hard work, their kids could one day follow their dreams. Emily often whispered to James late at night, "If we keep working hard, things will get better." They have to. But things weren't getting easier. Their old car broke down again, and James was forced to borrow rides or walk to work. The bills kept stacking up: electricity, water, and rent. Every month, it seemed harder to stretch the money to cover it all. Emily, never one to ask for help, started skipping meals to make sure the kids had enough to eat. She'd smile and say, "I'm not hungry, don't worry." But James could see the truth. On quiet nights, he would find her wiping away tears when she thought no one was looking. Lily and Max, too young to fully understand the struggles, did their best to make their parents smile. They drew pictures, told jokes, and gave hugs, filling the house with light whenever they could. For them, even little moments, like a chocolate bar or a walk in the park, were huge sources of joy. Despite the challenges, the Smiths had one thing that kept them going: their love for each other. They believed in working hard, being honest, and treating others with kindness. James would always remind Emily, "We might not have much, but we have each other, and that's enough." What they didn't know, though, was that their quiet resilience was about to catch the attention of someone who had the power to change their lives in ways they never thought possible. One chilly evening, after a long, exhausting day of work, James was walking home. The cold wind bit at his face, and his jacket, which had seen better days, barely kept him warm. His feet ached from the miles he'd already walked, but he was more focused on getting home quickly. Emily had mentioned they were down to their last loaf of bread, and he was hoping to grab a few groceries with the little money he had left. As he walked through the quiet neighborhood, he noticed an elderly man struggling to push a heavy cart filled with bags of cans and bottles. The cart wobbled dangerously, and the man's face was red from the cold, his breathing heavy with effort. James couldn't ignore the sight. He hesitated for a moment, thinking about how tired he was. His hands were stiff and sore, and the thought of rushing home for a warm meal and rest was tempting. But when he saw the man struggling, Something inside him shifted. He could see how hard it was for the old man to keep going, and James knew he couldn't just walk past. "Sir, let me help you with that," James said, stepping up beside the man. The old man paused and glanced at James, his face showing a mix of surprise and reluctance. "You've already got your own troubles, son. I'll manage," he replied, trying to push the cart forward again. James shook his head with a gentle smile. "It's okay. Sometimes we all need a little help." And so, together, they slowly pushed the cart to the recycling center at the end of the street. It wasn't easy. James felt the strain in his back, his muscles protesting with each step, but they made it. When they finally arrived, the elderly man turned to James, his eyes filled with gratitude, and his voice trembling slightly. "Thank you, young man," he said. "People don't stop to help much these days. You've got a good heart." James nodded, brushing off the compliment with a humble smile. "Take care of yourself, sir," he said before turning to leave. By the time he finally got home, his legs felt like they could give out at any moment. He opened the door to find Emily waiting for him, her face a mixture of concern and curiosity. "You're late," she said softly, her brow furrowing. "Sorry," James replied, placing a small bag of groceries on the table. "I stopped to help someone." Emily smiled faintly, knowing this was just who James was. Even when they had so little, he always found a way to give. It wasn't unusual for him to go out of his way for others, even when they were struggling themselves. What James didn't know was that his small act of kindness had been seen by someone else. A woman driving by had noticed him helping the old man and quickly recorded the moment on her phone. She posted a video online with a message that read, "In a world where everyone is rushing, this man stopped to help someone in need. We need more people like him." The video spread like wildfire, touching thousands of hearts. It was shared across social media platforms, with people praising the man who'd given his time to help a stranger despite his own struggles. But the story didn't stop there. One of the viewers was none other than Elon Musk, who saw the video and was deeply moved by what James had done. James had no idea that his simple, selfless act was about to set a series of events into motion that would change his life and his family's life forever. The morning after James helped the elderly man, life seemed to return to normal. James was back to his usual routine, getting ready for work, his thoughts occupied by the day ahead. But Emily noticed something different. As she handed in his coffee, she gave him a warm smile. "You seem lighter today," she said, her eyes full of curiosity. James shrugged, a modest smile on his face. "I guess it feels good to help someone, even if it's just a little." Neither of them had any idea that this simple act of kindness was already beginning to reshape their lives in ways they couldn't imagine. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in a sleek, modern office, Elon Musk was sifting through his social media feed. He was used to seeing updates about rockets, electric cars, and tech news. But that morning, a video caught his eye. It showed a man in faded clothes, helping an elderly person push a heavy cart. The caption read, "In a world that feels rushed and cold, here's a reminder of the kindness we all need." Elon watched the video several times, each replay deepening the impression it had made on him. The man's humility, his willingness to help despite his own struggles, stood out in a world where acts of kindness were rare. Elon, with all his wealth and influence, had seen many grand gestures, but this simple act of compassion moved him in a way that was hard to describe. He immediately called his assistant into the room. "Find out who this man is," Elon said, his voice firm. "I want to help him." Back in the Smith household, life continued as usual. James had left for work, and Emily was tidying up when the doorbell rang. When she'd opened it, a man in a suit stood on the doorstep, holding a clipboard. "Mrs. Smith?" he asked politely. "Yes, that's me," Emily replied, her heart skipping a beat as she wondered who it could be. The man introduced himself. "I'm here on behalf of Elon Musk. He came across a story about your family and wanted to reach out." Emily's mouth went dry. "Elon Musk? The billionaire?" she asked, disbelief creeping into her voice. The man nodded. "Yes. He was deeply moved by your husband's recent act of kindness. He wants to meet your family and discuss how he can support you." Emily stood frozen, her mind racing. She thanked the man quickly and called James, her voice trembling with excitement. "James, you're not going to believe this. Elon Musk knows who you are, and he wants to meet us." James, laughing nervously, thought it was some sort of prank. "Are you serious, Em?" "Yes," she exclaimed. "He saw the video of you helping that man with the cart. He was so moved that he wants to help us." A few days later, the Smith family found themselves on a private jet heading to Los Angeles. For Lily and Max, it felt like a dream. Max was pressing his nose to the window, while Lily bombarded her parents with questions about their destination. James and Emily, however, could hardly believe what was happening. When they arrived, they were greeted by Elon Musk himself. He extended a firm handshake to James, his smile genuine. "I don't think you realize how powerful your kindness is," Elon said. "It's people like you who make the world a better place." James, ever humble, replied, "I just did what anyone should do." Elon nodded, his eyes gleaming with sincerity. "That's exactly why I wanted to help. You didn't do it for recognition. You did it because it was the right thing to do. Let's talk about how we can make things easier for your family." By the end of the meeting, the Smiths had learned that Elon wanted to pay off their debts, repair their home, and provide scholarships for Lily and Max's education. But perhaps the most incredible part of all was that Elon offered James a stable job at one of his companies, something that would not only provide financial security for the family, but also a chance to build a better future. Overwhelmed with emotion, James looked at Elon and said, "I don't know how to thank you for all of this." Elon smiled, his voice warm. "You already did, by being a good human. Just promise me you'll keep spreading kindness." For the Smith family, this meeting marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one they could never have imagined, but one that would change their future forever. The changes in the Smith family's life were almost immediate. Within weeks, their modest home, which had once been falling apart, underwent a complete transformation. The creaky doors that had been stuck for years were replaced. The leaking roof that had caused endless headaches was finally fixed. For the first time in a long time, Emily could walk into her home and breathe without the weight of worry hanging over her. Even more surreal was the new dining table, a real one, big enough for the whole family to sit around comfortably. Lily and Max were beyond thrilled. Their rooms, once cramped and full of chipped paint and worn-out furniture, had been completely redecorated. Bright walls, new beds, and even desks to study at made the house feel like a new place. Max, spinning around in his new swivel chair, couldn't stop grinning. "It feels like we live in one of those houses from TV," he said, amazed. While the changes to their home were incredible, James found the biggest transformation wasn't in their surroundings, it was within himself. At Elon Musk's company, James started working in logistics, a field he was already familiar with. But the difference now was how valued he felt. His new coworkers were supportive, and for the first time in years, he didn't have to worry about job security. James wasn't just another worker in a long line of employees, he was an integral part of the team. One afternoon, while grabbing lunch in the break room, James overheard a younger employee venting about the challenges of juggling work with the pressure of paying for school. The conversation hit close to home, reminding James of his own struggles not too long ago. That night, he turned to Emily, his face serious. "I want to do more," he said. "It's not just about us anymore. We've been so blessed, and I want to pay it forward." Emily smiled, understanding exactly where he was coming from. "I've been thinking the same thing. What if we start something? A community initiative to help families like we were before." And so, with their newfound stability, the Smiths launched a small local program aimed at helping struggling families in their neighborhood. They started simple, offering groceries for a week, helping pay bills, or providing free tutoring for kids who needed extra support. James also reached out to his former coworkers, many of whom were still in tough situations, and connected them to opportunities at his new workplace. Soon, word spread, and local businesses began stepping in to help. The Smiths turned their small idea into a full-fledged network of support. Emily took charge of coordinating events, while Lily and Max eagerly helped pack care kits on weekends. Their community initiative began to grow faster than they had imagined, and the ripple effect of kindness spread further than they could have hoped. Months later, the family received an invitation to an awards ceremony in Los Angeles. Elon Musk himself wanted to publicly recognize them for their community efforts. Standing on stage in front of a packed audience, James felt a wave of nervousness wash over him. He wasn't used to speaking in front of large crowds, but as he looked over at Emily, Lily, and Max, smiling and proud, he felt a sense of confidence take over. 6 months ago, my family was struggling, he began, his voice steadying with every word. I didn't think anyone noticed us. I didn't think we mattered. But one small act of kindness, helping an old man, changed our lives. It reminded me that we all matter. that no act of kindness is too small. And now, because someone believed in us, we can give that belief to others. Thank you for letting us be part of something bigger. The audience erupted into applause, and for the first time, James felt a pride he had never known before. He wasn't just the guy who helped a stranger. He was someone who had made a difference, someone who was actively changing the world around him. Back in their neighborhood, the Smiths became a beacon of hope. Kids who used to tease Max now looked up to him, calling him the kid whose dad met Elon Musk. Families who had benefited from their initiative often returned to volunteer, and soon, the Smiths program grew into something far bigger than they had ever imagined. Lily, who once struggled with self-esteem, found her voice in a way she never had before. She began writing about their experiences for school projects. One day, she shared a story titled "How Kindness Saved My Family." Reading it brought tears to James' eyes. "Dad," Lily said softly, looking up at him. "You taught us that even when life is hard, we can still make a difference. I'm proud of you." For James, the transformation wasn't just about financial stability or recognition. It was about rediscovering his worth and, more importantly, teaching his children the true power of compassion. For Emily, watching her husband walk taller, her children laugh freely, and their community thrive made her believe in something she hadn't dared to before. Oh. The Smiths' story became a powerful reminder to everyone around them. Kindness, no matter how small, can change lives, starting with your own. The power of kindness. The story of the Smith family is more than just a feel-good tale. It's a reminder of how one simple act can create a wave of change. James's decision to stop and help an elderly man, despite his own struggles, didn't just improve his life. It sparked a chain reaction that transformed his entire community. It's a powerful example of how small acts of kindness can lead to big things. This story shows us the importance of compassion, hope, and the courage to act. What can we learn from James' journey? Kindness is powerful. Never underestimate how much one small act of kindness can do. James didn't set out to change the world, but by helping someone in need, he opened doors to opportunities that he never imagined. Sometimes, the most significant moments in life come from simple, genuine actions. Give back when you can. When we're fortunate, it's important to share that good fortune with others. Just as James chose to lend a hand when he had little to give, we all have something to offer. Whether it's time, skills, or a listening ear, every small contribution matters. You can transform your circumstances. It's easy to feel stuck when life gets tough, but change often starts from within. By taking action, staying hopeful, and focusing on others, we can shift our own reality, just like James did. What about you? Now, I want to hear from you. If you could change someone's life with just one act of kindness, how would you do it? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a simple gesture that made a big difference? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with friends. Every share helps spread a message of hope and kindness. Together, we can make the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time.